There's Smith again. It's a shot he waits for.
There's no doubt in my mind that he had reached a sort of burnout stage, and whatever the reasons that he wasn't selected for the Tour of Australia, I would say that the decision not to take him won't do him any harm at all.
That was a good stroke. Well, a really spectacular shot there.
He's a lot more relaxed in himself, but he's still got that determination to prove everybody wrong. And his record for England and for his county have been exceptional, especially in big match games. So he'll be back this summer, I hope, and I'm sure.
I can assure you that is quite a comeback, and it is a great innings.
Picture this scene. England are playing the West Indies at the Oval. England are 40 for 2, Curtly Ambrose and Courtney Walsh are flying in. Which batsman would the English supporters want to be strolling to the wicket? Graham Hick, Graham Thorpe or Mark Ramprakash? 2 years ago, 90% of us without hesitation would have said Robin Smith. We're down at Southampton to see whether Robin Smith has the hunger and the ability to get back with the England side.
That's a wonderful shot.
I have a great desire now to get back into the England side. I've had a great 6 months away from the game, and I feel ready to get back in. I still believe that, I'm young enough. I'm 31. I still believe that I have a lot to offer the game.
And that takes Robin Smith to his highest score for England, beating his 143 against Australia at Old Trafford 2 years ago.
I think England needs a fit and rejuvenated Robin Smith, particularly this summer. His traditional strengths have been against the West Indies and that kind of pace attack. It was unfortunate that when we needed him to do so well for us in the winter in the West Indies, he had for him what he would regard as a poor tour, although he salvaged it a little bit at the end with 170 in Antigua. But at his best, he's a fine player of pace bowling, destructive player who can take the bowling, take it to the West Indian bowling.
At the moment, I think there are probably one or two places there where there is scope to look at it for the selectors. I think, for instance, John Crawley hasn't really established himself in that side either in the previous summer here against South Africa or against Australia in the winter. And so his spot could well be up for grabs. And if someone like Robin can start the season off well and show he's in top form, then that's the sort of form that should attract the interest of the selectors. And if that's the case, then there's no reason why he shouldn't be in there from the start.
Robin Smith, one of 2 new caps.
It's the West Indies who have provided some of the memorable moments of Robin Smith's career. His debut was against them in the 4th Test at Headingley in 1988.
I enjoyed my first game. I'm saying that I've enjoyed every game I've played for England, but particularly that one because I have a lot of fond memories. Alan Lamb and myself put on about 110 until he pulled a hamstring and unfortunately retired, and then I think the West Indians saw light at the end of the tunnel and managed to wrap us up. So I enjoyed it while it lasted anyway.
When the West Indies next returned in 1991, Robin Smith was very much the established star of England's batting lineup and well on the way to being officially rated the world's #1. His 148 not out in the 2nd Test was Smith at his resilient best. From 84 for 5, he organised the lower order to reach a respectable England total of 354.
Hero of the day will be Robin Smith, unbeaten on 148, and just listen to this ovation for that man there, Robin Smith.
And he's done it.
But, as other batsmen have done, Robin Smith succumbed to Shane Warne, and as the Australians swept England aside in 1993, Smith was tagged as the batsman who couldn't play spin.
Certainly the last couple of years I've become, I think, a worse player of spinners. There's been a lot of talk about and a lot of things written in the paper about my inadequacies against spin bowling, and if you read something for long enough and if you read it more times, more often than not, it becomes embedded in the self-conscious, and I'm really probably starting to believe now that I'm not a very good player of spin bowling. Which is silly because I've always batted in the middle order. I'm going to be facing spinners most of the time, and with an average of 45 in Test cricket and 47 in first-class cricket, and scoring a lot of runs in one-day cricket, I can't be that bad a player against spinners.
He couldn't quite make his mind up how to deal with it. That was the problem. And I always think that with someone like Robin, whether it's playing against spin bowling or playing against the Caribbean pace quartet type sort of bowling, that he has to remember what he does perfectly naturally, because that's when all of us are at our best, when we just let our instincts take over. You watch the ball and just let it happen from there, and that's what Robin's got to do. I think it has been hard for him to put it all out of his mind, what people have said about him and written about him.
He ought to be able to come back. He's certainly got the ability to come back. It then becomes a matter of a bit of a mental exercise, isn't it? You've got to be just moving forward, some more tricks all the time. And he might not have been quite as sharp on that as possible. It was Jack Hobbs who, in my first series, 56, and sat on the balcony with me and said, no, you know, you could be in this game a long time, but you got to analyse. Each winter you've got to analyse your game, just sort one weakness out and patch it up and just keep one step ahead all the time. And that was very helpful. Robin is going through that phase a bit. I hope he comes through. England need him.
Despite a disappointing tour to the Caribbean with Michael Atherton's side, where only 178 in the 5th Test salvaged some pride, Robin Smith remains the choice of many to bat against the West Indies this summer.
I still believe he's the best middle-order batsman in this country, and I don't have any hesitation in saying that. He certainly was exposed by outstanding leg spin in Shane Warne, but then so have a few been, and I would have to add that the rest of his game is, I think, unsurpassed by anybody I know in this country.
There came a point last summer where I really wasn't quite as dedicated as I had been in the past, probably not practicing as hard. You know, there was a lot of talk about, you know, other business activities which had taken over, which I totally disagree. I mean, the reason why I wasn't as dedicated is just because I was totally drained and mentally tired from the game. So I've had a fantastic break. I've been 6 months away from the game, away from the pressure, which is equally as important. And I had another shoulder operation 4.5 months ago, which I could never have had on tour had I been selected to go to Australia. So things for me have worked out very well.
The Robin Smith we saw practicing at Southampton was certainly a rejuvenated one, and clearly getting ready for the summer ahead.
Australia went to Antigua for the second Test match of the series, hoping to